Good morning, day traders, and welcome to Market Minute, a hedge fund trader's technical analysis for Friday, April 8th, 2022. Let's get after it. So having a little bit of a mixed narrative here this morning, where we're seeing a little bit of strength here on the index level. Now we kind of have that bullish engulfing candle closed there yesterday, but sort of on that weak volume profile. Now a little bit of a gap up, sort of giving us that sort of 2 out of 3 for that sort of relative strength to the upside, right? So decent looking candle, decent looking gap up, but really poor sort of previous day volume creates a little bit still of a challenging narrative for us here today. Hard to trust sort of any breakouts here, right? We want to look to enter on any pullback or sort of on any relative weakness before looking to run this thing up. I have a bullish bias here this morning above that 451 target and think I have space towards that 453, 454, and then eventually that 456 area. Similar narrative here on QQQ with a little bit of a double hammer pattern. Maybe you can call this a little bit of a doji as well, but if we go candle arrows, a little bit more buying pressure than selling pressure on yesterday's sort of price action. Now, same thing here like the SPY, where we want to be a little bit cautious with that volume profile. And then the last time we kind of saw that double hammer gap up, we had kind of a big sell-off here, right? So this March 9th, 10th, and 11th, right? Maybe a little bit of a warning sign here for us, just to not get too attached to this price action here to the upside. That being said, right, if we can kind of clear above this 357, we have a little bit of a gap up to fill towards that sort of 359, 360 area, and certainly feels like there's a little bit of space there. Apple giving us a little bit of a challenging setup here with double dojis in very tight levels. So kind of compared to sort of the Q, right? Still a little bit more maybe buying pressure than selling pressure. So still have a slight kind of bullish bias, especially after sort of the previous trend that we have established here, plus that gap up. So we're kind of getting like a 1.5 out of 3 here, right? From the things we want to see. And we're looking for this thing to break out over that 173.60 for a move towards that, say, 174.20. right, 175.30, and then that 176. So although we have a little bit of space up here, those first couple levels might not get that right risk reward profile to justify taking a stab here. Tesla's not really giving us much of a reaction or much of a hint here pre-market, but definitely looks like it could be in play. So it filled its gap down yesterday, but then was defended by bulls. Now this news narrative, right? We have a news narrative after Elon Musk spoke yesterday and said that Cybertruck, Semi, and a few other cars will be in max production by this time next year. So we'd anticipate maybe a little bit of bullish momentum to step in here on Tesla. If we can break above that 1080, we certainly have room towards that 1090, 1096, and then that 1100 barrier. And then kind of that same story here, like that Apple, where we have that sort of relative trend, relative strength here from that trend over the last couple of weeks. And we're looking for that sort of continuation narrative here this morning. Microsoft's kind of a tricky one here. Don't really see much action. Yesterday tried to break down here to the downside, but was really unable to do that and kind of found dip buyers all day long. Now not really gapping up, not really breaking down. So probably more one to watch than one to trade. But if we can break down under that 296 area, certainly has some space. And realistically looking for a move above that 317 here in the short term before this thing gets bullish. So you need to see a little bit more information to sort of invalidate some of the relative weakness we've seen over the last couple of days, and more looking like it wants to consolidate here for a little bit versus one to sort of trade. AMD, right, kind of high volume indecision, kind of on back-to-back days here, albeit slight hammer bounce off of this 100 area. If we can now kind of continue and sort of reclaim this trend line, could be tradable in the next couple of days. And then similar narrative here on this NVDA, where we're looking for that sort of breakdown continuation. And if you can give us that sort of follow through, probably tough for us to chase it today, but over the next couple of days, we can kind of get that nice kind of trend continuation move here. Could be an opportunity to sort of bounce this thing up. And then the same sort of narrative here on Facebook, where it has a little bit of that bearish bias, couldn't really sell off there yesterday. So looking like it sort of wants to consolidate here a little bit today. So again, probably a little bit of a slower and quieter session, but there's a little bit of potential here on the index level, and would like to see how those sort of play out today. So that's how I plan on dominating today's action. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you guys all on Monday for the next Market Minute.